y'all. It is Paula with Hillbilly Orchids. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. I just got these plants in on... Got a gnat flying around there. Oh my gosh, if I grabbed him, that would be so funny. I didn't get him though. Anyways, I just got these plants in from the Tiny Jungle. Yay! And, couple of great plants, beautiful blooms. The Persiliana is going to take a little while to get big, but it'll grow fast. It's a nice plant. It's got double growths on it, so it's doing phenomenal. But as you can see, I left them soak overnight in the welcome cocktail, which is 100 parts per million cow mag and 50 parts of sea kelp. So I gave them their soak, but I know after growing, as long as I have, I know what media works in my environment. So Tony, he grows in leca. He grows in leca like media, and he can do that in California. I can't do that in West Virginia. No, it just won't work. That is, these are perfect for his environment, especially because it's like cooler out there. And, this is like a really good setup for him. But this setup just don't work in West Virginia. Not at all. These would dry out way too fast, and these roots would dry. So I've got to get those down in media, and I've got to get it straightened up into a growing situation in my environment that I know this plant will enjoy here. Sometimes you have to do that, and sometimes your media might not work for others. I have truly fell in love with treated coconut husk chunks. And sadly, like Miss Betty in Alabama, she can't use them because it's so humid that it never dries out and then it molds. So, you see, just like some medias just don't work as well in other places as they do for other people. So, yeah. But unfortunately, in this area, these leca balls won't get it. They will not cut it. So that was relatively easy pulling her up out of there. She's got rather large pieces of bark inside of her where she was pulled from. Tony probably up potted her and potted her into the leca, which, works, like I said, works fine in his environment, but it doesn't work for mine. But you know what? That is good bark, and I'm not going to mess with those. I'm not going to pull them out. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm going to leave them just like they are. And I'm going to find a pot to pot her into and put her in medium. That root's mushy. Put her in medium that I, can deal with in my environment. So hold tight 1 second and let me get a pot for her. Alrighty, y'all, we are back now. Oh, I actually didn't clean that rim of that very good. I see it now. I need to get a hold of Ken. I need 4-inch pots again. I need those tweener pots. They really are, they really are remarkable. And, I had to actually go back and get some of my smaller green pots, which luckily I kept some of them because I'm out of clear pots. So, but I'm okay with, potting it in here because it won't take it long, and it'll need to be up potted to a 5-inch pot. So not worried about that whatsoever. So I did lose a couple of chunks. I'm just going to kind of place back in there just like that. And we are using Orchid Supply Store media, except for the, I did the treated coconut husk chunks. I treated, and I bought, the Repotting from, Amazon. That's just the kind that I use because it's not real high in salts, and, yeah, so I used that, and I did have to purchase the moss too, because yep, he's been out of moss, and hasn't sent me any lately. So yep, I'm just kind of waiting on that. So in the meantime, I had to have moss, so I went ahead and grabbed some off of Amazon too. So now what I'm going to do, let's see if we can maybe zoom in just a tiny touch. Turn the light on. That helps a lot. Yeah. I really need a light for over top of this this table, so that I can see, you know, so that we can see better on this table. You would think as many lights as around that I wouldn't need another light. You would think it would be bright enough in here, but not really. So I'm just going to add, this little guy is still a little on the seedling, you know, seedling area. So I am going to add moss to it to really help, which I've been adding moss to like all my plants lately. It has been a tremendous help with everything. The fowls are just loving it, and the cattleyas seem to be doing a lot better with it as well. Like I said, that one I got the Knot Lawrenceana. This time I did repot it right before she decided to bloom, and I added moss to her mixture, and she's got 2 buds this time. And normally she fusses and blasts a bud. Usually I only get 1 bloom from her. This time she's done phenomenal with it, and she's holding on to both buds. So I can't help but not notice and say, hey, that must be because of what I did. That must be something, you know, it was just a general observation that, guess what? What I did is something that worked for her, and it really helped. So, yeah. Great news on that. That she is going to put 2 buds out this time. 2 blooms. She's got 2 buds, and she's holding on to them. So, I'm hopeful. Got my fingers crossed. So, anyways, we put a little bit of moss in there, and I'm going to top it with the bark and coconut husk chunks and the perlite, which the perlite, the charcoal, and the charcoal is great. It came from the Orchid Supply Store. It's phenomenal. The bark's great. It came from the Orchid Supply Store. It's Orchiata. I forget which, I think he calls it the large. Let me see if I can find the bag. Yeah, it's the large Orchiata. Dumb people. I swear, I don't know what's going on down the fire hall, but it's been rather an annoying day. It's not even summer yet, and it's like the neighbors are out there with their grandkids, and they're yelling and screaming at them, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, already? Like, this is what I have to hear all summer long? You know, like, and it's starting early. It's not even summer yet. And, like, I don't know, there's, like, cars everywhere at the fire department. It's like, I don't know what's up. They're doing something besides being loud and annoying. But that little pot will fit perfect down in there now, so I have a mask for it. I'm just going to put it back in that soak for right now and let it soak a little bit while I do this one. So, what we're going to do is stop that, pull that back out. Shouldn't have to pull her up too much, because we're probably going to be needing it down lower there to look at this one once we get her pulled out of here, because I don't know what's in this one. If you look, and this is the only reason I'm pulling her out is because she's in a net pot, which I don't mind. I just did that video I showed you. I up-potted, I'm looking at her, she's right there, actually. The Violacea, crossed with the Violacea Isabella Rosalia. She was in a net pot, and I just up-potted her. I left her in there because I felt that it was going to damage too many roots to pull her from that. So I left it. So I'm just curious to see what this one's doing myself. And the only reason that I am is because, you know, once again, this big chunk works really good for Tony in California, but it doesn't work good for me. It doesn't work in my environment. So, Yeah, so that's why I said, you know, you kind of gotta, once you get adjusted to knowing what works in your environment, then most orchids will respond to those in your environment. You know what I mean? So you'll know that that is a pretty good mix for most generally all of your orchids. So that's what we're doing. Now, if we look, she did have some roots grow out there, which is fine. These are stuck even after soaking all night. I don't want to pull on them too much and damage those new roots. That one was an old root and a dead root, so that was fine. And see, if you look, some of these are dead roots. This one is a dead root. And I'm going to snip it off just so it'll be out of my way for right now. Checking all these. Oh, that one's mushy too. They're a little soft. But see, this has got a new growth right here, and that's what is happening is that it's throwed out new roots. I'm not sure if it's that one or the last new growth threw out new roots, but if not, then this one will be throwing out new roots. So I think what I'm going to do, and it's going to take a minute, is I'm going to cut this old net pot off of here. And so that's going to be a little bit of a time-consuming deal. So hang tight. Well, I don't know if you want to see me cut it off of there. Hold on, let me get my tools. All right, I am back, and these are my tools. I'm going to use my wire cutters. These are my Fisker snips. They're helpful for snipping like the big top part, and these are really the best part for snipping these small sections. And the only reason I'm doing this on camera is because it shouldn't really take that long. So I'll show you how easy and simple this should be to do. Just try not to catch them roots, the new ones. Actually, it's a little hard on my thumb. My hands are really sore today. It's raining outside and it's got all my joints swollen. So like it took me like 2 hours this morning before I could even make a fist with my right hand. So bear with me a little bit. Everything's kind of sore. My medicine that my doctor had switched me, how he'd switched my medication around was doing really, really good, but we hadn't had any bad weather as of yet, and definitely the bad weather has made a difference, and I haven't been able to talk to him about it yet. I'll talk to him when I go back in, but yeah, like either it's the weather or a flare up. So it doesn't really do much during a flare up kind of thing, which is kind of yucky. But I still keep pushing on. I'm trying to anyway. All right, we should be right back to where we started, and this should peel off relatively. Oh, we'd have got that one with much trouble. All right, so now some of these roots aren't very good. Some are, some aren't. I probably am once again going to leave them. I'll discuss that on this one too, because a lady had asked me in the last when I potted up those bare root plants from Yoshi. She was like, oh my gosh, like you didn't cut them off, and you didn't, do Fizan on them, and you didn't, or use peroxide on them. You didn't do anything. And I told her, I was like, nope, I sure didn't. And I don't normally. Fizan is kind of hard on a plant. Fazan can set a plant back. So it's preferable that you don't use it on it unless you absolutely have to. That's the only time I ever use Fazan is when it's absolutely necessary. This one's not gonna cut it. So yeah, I don't use Fazan on it, and I don't use peroxide. Peroxide's a little less rough, but still, it's not that great on the roots. Because she said, she's like, it seems like my plants are always set back. And I'm like, yeah, that will do it. Fazan will do it. Fazan will set back a plant. So, just be careful in doing that. So, but I told her, I said, those roots, that the only reason that I allowed it was because those roots did not smell. They were fine and completely dry. They were completely dead. They would not hurt a thing putting them back in media. And the reason that I put them in media is for stability. That's it. I don't put, I don't like to stake them. Like normally you'll have to put like 3 or 4 on that big of a plant. You'd have had to put like 3 stakes to hold that plant still if you'd have cut every single root off of it. So I chose not to do that. So, and or put a rhizome clip on, and I don't have any rhizome clips. So I do what works for me. And that has always worked for me. She said, I did notice, she's like, if that's what you're doing, it's never caused a problem for you because you've got great plants. And I'm like, exactly. That was really good of her to notice that, my plants are doing great regardless, that even though I don't do that. So, sometimes overkill is too much is too, how am I trying to say it now? Doing extras is a little too much. Doing more is a little too much. It's all not real necessary. So, don't overdo it for them, because you're just kind of, you're kind of overdoing it, which in turn kind of sets the plant back. So that's what you don't want. You want this plant to thrive and do as good as it can and jump forward, not set it back. So I hope that makes sense. But, yeah, generally that's what I do. I don't normally ever, as long as the roots don't smell. And I told her, I was like, and if you do pot them up and say like a month down the road, you start smelling something the minute you water that pot, well, then it's bad. And then you go ahead and switch it out and change them and cut the roots off. Then you have to clean it up and do all that. So, you don't always... It doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to go back and do that. So, and actually I am glad I kind of picked through this, because these roots were really bad, and this bark was really old. Like if you can see, it's under my fingernail because it's just kind of scraping apart. That means this bark is getting old. So I want to get rid of that. I want that gone. So that is why I will be, not unlike the other one, I left the bark in there because it was nice, good, fresh bark. This is not. And this has, because it's broke down and it's probably acidic, it has killed these roots now. So yeah, that means this needs to be cleaned up and redone. So I'm really glad that we did that. Yeah, anytime you get like your bark gets this on your fingers, and or like you notice it on the bottom of your pots, this bark is done. This bark needs to be changed, because this is probably making it's probably acidic, and it's probably making your roots die, which you can see everything here is not looking good in the middle of this plant. So, and that is like seedling bulbs. They should still be good, but you see that? I mean, like, that is a mess of stuff just, crumbling right off of that bark. Not good. Not good at all. So, now, basically, I pretty well think I've got that clean up there. But what I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm going to rinse this. So, I will be right back. After I remove, this is a chunk of bark right here. I definitely want any of the old bark out of it. because if it's all, and it has a smell. It has a, you know, you can tell it has a distinctive old smell. This is actually another seedling. I don't know whether to leave it. I guess I will, if it'll stay. But hang tight, and I'm going to take her out, and I'm going to rinse her off, and I will be right back. Hey, y'all. My channel is sponsored by the Orchid Supply Store. It is literally your one-stop shop for anything and everything you could possibly need orchid related. They have pots, they have media, they even sell orchids. Use my name, code Hillbilly, in the code section for a 12% viewers discount. They also do free shipping in the US. So go check them out, y'all. Alright, y'all, we are back now. I got her really cleaned up, and that is another seedling. Like I said, I thought it was, but if you look, it's growing a new growth right there, so I'm going to try to leave it on there. So that'll just make for, you know, a better pot full of plant. So, and again, I'm going to leave the roots on it. Now, some of those, as you can see, are not good, and what it is that they're kind of dead in the middle, good on the end kind of thing, but they will probably abort them eventually. But I need it, I want them for the stability again. So that will help hold this plant stable, and I won't have any issues with it then moving about, and I won't have to stake it. So, and then like I said, that will give it plenty of time. This one hasn't put down new roots yet. Those new roots were coming from this new growth. This must have been the last new growth right here. So, yep. So let's put a little bit of bark in the bottom. Whew, it gets so hot in here when that door is shut. It's really rather kind of cool outside. Kind of nice. It's not cool. It's nice outside because it's raining. But that rain really doesn't make me feel good. Really don't. So, yep, and that rinsed off all of that stuff. So, now this plant should have nothing acidic around its roots, so those roots shouldn't break down anymore. So, we'll leave it go from here and see. But like I said, as I water, I'll go through and I'll still check on this plant, you know. I'll still be able to smell, you know, the minute, when a plant is funky, like the minute you hit it with water, you'll know it. Like I don't know what it is, but the minute it hits water, it releases that odor, and you know it. So yeah, it's not a big problem to know when it needs to have the bark and stuff changed. So if for some reason something would go on and I water it then and it smells bad, then I know I'll just, you know, dump the pot and start over again. Dump the pot, clean the roots up and everything, clean up everything that's there. And if I would have to stake it then, I'd just have to stake it, you know. There comes a time when, you know, you do have to remove all the roots. That's fine. But, you know, sometimes you can do it, you can leave them and get by with it. It doesn't hurt a thing. It doesn't hurt the plant. So, like I said, they grow their new roots, and then that's all they're worried about. Those old ones kind of just disappear. They fade away, and they don't affect the plant whatsoever. So this one too, I'm going to put a large moss base around it. See how it does in that. See if it doesn't pick back up in my environment. And like I said, this growth will be putting out roots soon, so that will be a great start to come off into, you know, or into media like that. And then this new growth will grow, and it will start great new roots. So it will be a big plus on this plant growth wise. And we'll do the same thing, a large moss base, and then cover it with bark so that it doesn't get real algae covered. So you all enjoying your spring-like weather now? It definitely with the rain today, it seemed a little more like spring. Yesterday was real hot. Like we jumped back up to like 84. It was only supposed to be like 79, and it jumped way up 84. So yeah, it got really warm. But it was a really, it was a really nice day. Nice day to do stuff. All right, that looks pretty good to me. And I'm not putting this bark back in there because this is that, see how I just broke. See how that is so old and bad. That's what I'm saying. This bark just needed to go. But I'm going to try to anyway, peel this chunk of moss off of here just because I like it. I like that moss. And it does rather well on some plants like that. So put it on top of the moss there, let it catch, and it'll take off. Well, I'm grabbing that. I need this. It'll take off there and do quite well. Now add our topping to this. I didn't really cover that. It's right there. I do want to watch that little baby growth. Oh, that's it. That's awesome. Looks good. Looks really good. And again, this one should fit right back in there. So, yay. There are my two. This is important. Put the tag back in it so we know what it is. And there you go. So now these two are ready to rock and roll in my grow space, in my environment. And they should take right off and do really good. So that is repotting up of my two plants from the tiny jungle. And if y'all have any questions with anything, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you beautiful, wonderful people stopping by and hanging out with me. And bye for now, y'all, till we meet again.